hallelujah, giving the hallelujah, giving the highest praise, hallelujah, giving the highest praise, hallelujah, giving the highest praise. In the morning when I wake up, in the night when I wake up, I will lift up my voice to heaven and give you the highest praise. Hallelujah to my King, hallelujah to my Father, hallelujah to my Jesus. I bow before the throne when I look at all the wonder and I see all the creation, the beauty of the universe. You never, never change. You never, never lie. You never, never change. You never, never change. Hallelujah to my Jesus. Hallelujah. 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 Hey, hey. Hallelujah. Hey. Giving, hallelujah. Hey. Giving the highest praise. Hallelujah. Giving the highest praise. Hallelujah. Giving the highest praise.
Hey, come let's pray, Jehovah. Come let's worship Jehovah. He deserves the praise. Come let's praise Him. He deserves everything. Oh, the worshiping. Oh, He gave me life. I work.
Welcome to this evening. What a beautiful midweek here. Today is Wednesday. A lot is unfolding both in and out. I'm Alfonso Zayan, so right here at the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. My team of analysts and contributors are going to be joining me here very shortly to want to welcome our viewers, man Yusuf, right there in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He's our prime-time listeners every evening, not a single night that would just slip by without hint. And all of the rest of the folks, wherever you are, do us a favor by just hitting the share button to invite someone that you company to. We're going to have a critical discussion here. A lot is unfolding in Liberia, other parts of the world. And we're going to be having all of those talking points. Stay tuned, I'm Alfonso Zayan. So.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah to my Jesus. Hey, hallelujah. Sing praises to Jehovah. Lift up your hands and worship. Lift up your voice and pray.
Thank you for joining us here. What happens behind the friendly lines? We're going to have in all of that conversation. Hopefully, the Director General of the Liberia News Agency, Kwame Opa Weeks, will be joining us here as well to get this conversation. But in the meantime, my contributors are standing by in Asia. Wida is here. We're going to be having all of that conversation. And of course, the liberal progressive, the only liberal on this network, Samson Bloku Branto from Saxton, Sacramento. He's going to be here. We're going to hear the liberal view here. And of course, the man from the far right, from Atlanta, Georgia, Amos George, is going to be here. Let me just bring in Wida here in the meantime. And we're going to do some little bit of running around here to bring you up to speed. The online news network, electronic media, to a different headline beat following the dismissal of the Deputy Minister of Public Affairs, Republic of Liberia, one of the loudest voices during the early days of the Congress for Democratic Change. losing his position. Let me bring in our senior contributor. He's a sedition as well. Mr. George Wider is standing by in Asia. Is that Asia or Australia? What am I always doing?
It's Australia.
Okay, Australia. That's the same thing. Okay. You look like you sad. What's happening? Are you sad?
Look, I got mixed feelings anyway, but it's all good, you know. And thank you for having me.
Okay. All right. So mixed feelings. Mixed feelings will be that, and that's the beauty of life. Everything is not a bread and butter. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners. We're going to have some critical conversation here. We're going to be putting it into context. The man, Eugene Lamin Fagon. For the first time, probably I'm going to be saying this here. He's a guy that I will be knowing one another for quite a long while, but there's come a time some distance is kept. We all were in Camp Waterloo, refugee camp. Let's do a little bit. The Libra going to be joining us here, but let's listen to some of the soundbite of Mr. Fagon, like I said, Director Kwame Opa Weeks of the Liberian News Agency will be joining us here. So, just bear with me. Just bear with me. Just bear with me. So he's going to be joining us here at a very short list. So have this here. But let's see here. I want us to do some backtracking here. Of Mr. Eugene Fagon during his days when he started his podcast. Let's see. Let's listen to this soundbite here.
All the time. Being made to do so. Every now and then, to turn the other cheek and they slap you. And they ask you to turn the other cheek and they slap you. Good morning, Miss Doe, and good morning, Mr. Nangbe. They tell you to bend over and they kick you in the behind. Let me inform you people. Don't you ever dare back down from any form of intimidation or insult from any so-called Congo people or Congo person. Let me put it that way. I'm sorry. Do not be ashamed to own up to who you are. Put your education one side.
But
if they insult you, insult them right back.
It's already there.
This is the time that we must show to these people that all of us are equal. As long as they don't raise their hand to slap you, don't slap them. If they don't hit you, don't hit them. If they insult you, insult the hell out of them. Take it from me. They want to intimidate us into submission because they know that days are numbered.
Okay. That's that. Keeping track of what is happening in the political world. That was in the days during the heat of the campaign. Then political commentator Eugene Lamin Fagon all out on the assault and trying to do everything possible he can. But before then, he was an ALP guy. Let's see here. So let's get to this other soundbite as well as we try to bring them here. Let's listen to this.
Before going forward, let me issue a disclaimer. All of the words that I say here tonight represent my own. I speak on behalf of myself, and all I'm trying to do is rally my friends in the ALP, my fellow partisans, so that we come together and make progress. I don't know why you see about sending it again. That's all I'm trying to do. Until the ALP can say, do this for us, I don't think I'm called for the authority to begin to do that. However, I believe in the ALP, we're all working towards one goal. But individually, we can do some things to make sure we accelerate the political ideology of our political institution. With that said, I'm here tonight to rally the base. My friends within the LP, do not sit there. Do something. Our people say, do not sit there, do something. What we face is a serious threat of us returning to our ugly past or revisiting the last 12 years of nepotism, corruption, cronyism, and lack of vision. So tonight, I'm here to rally you against what I...
Tonight, I'm here to rally you. That was during the heat of the 2017 presidential election that ushered in now the sitting president, His Excellency Dr. George Manenwia. He had his own pack here, but there was no limitation. He was a good friend of Vent, the Liberia Public Radio. He made numerous appearances right here on the Liberia Public Radio. He introduces something called a codenamed political cartel, the Concord versus the us and then. And that seems to have resonated with most of the electors who felt it was the time, and that was the time the country giant then considered George Weah will be the next president of the Republic of Liberia. Well, Eugene Fagon and I went head to head. And that's when he introduces what they call this political cartel right here on the Liberia Public Radio. And I believe that was 2017 in September when he had that interview with me. Let's take a look, and we're going to be playing it here right now. We're going to have a conversation.
Hello? Yeah, okay.
Can you hear me from the phone?
Yes, just bear with, oh yes, just bear with me here. Just bear with me here. Let's see here. We're gonna, okay. Let's see here. Let's see whether we can get this here.
The political cartel. The political cartel is a group of political parties using state resources to perpetuate themselves in power. And they have been under this power for over 50 years now. They were the ones that took down Togo and ushered in Doe. They were the ones that took down Doe and ushered in a host of other leaders over and over and over again until they got to Taylor. Now, since the political cartel came into being, Liberia has never made peace, and we've never shown any growth or development. As a matter of fact, people like you and I have gone around the world. Our eyes are open. We're educated now. Should we continue to travel alongside these people who came in the name of progressive, who have been either on top of power, beneath power, or power, within the corridors of power, or around power? Very 50 years have produced nothing. We've seen the same story. Footer, Papule, Ellie, Ole, all of them. They call them progressives. They never came with an agenda or a blueprint. The only thing we have to show for the 50 years plus is nothing but last week. And we can count the debt over and over and will not be able to give you.
Do you see the end? Are we coming to the end of the tunnel in the next 14 days? In your word, political cartels, people that have used national state resources to enrich themselves. Are we looking at the last 14 days to be the end of the tunnel? Is that something that you perceive? If the guy or the group, the coalition that you support, if they do win that election, is that the end of the tunnel?
That is the end for the cartel. It will not be the end of the tunnel.
Is there any? Do you have? Is there any skepticism, Mr. Fagon? Even absolutely. You see, there's no probable cause of the cartel in your word to infiltrate, to even come into the coalition at the end of the day if they win the election.
I will not say the cartel will not be able to infiltrate. That I will not say. I don't have power over the attempt. But what I can say to you that is this: we do have power over the fact that we either allow them or we don't. And certainly it does not show that they will be allowed to apply their trade within the coalition. That is not going to happen because we're running on 4 pillars. And we will have the mandate of the Liberian people. And the mandate of the Liberian people does not say retrogression. It says clearly progress. And the cartel has been known for retrogression. So we are not going to play to that. We must succeed. But to succeed means we must stop doing the old things we did for 50 years and start doing new things. And one of the things we want to do this time is not to form the big book government, but to form a common sense government which which works better and costs less. That's what we want to do.
Okay, let me bring in my intelligence. All of our contributors are here. The Liberal Progressive is based in Saxton, Sacramento, from Toton to Morovia, and then to Rhode Island, and finally in the most liberal state, California. Joining me from Australia, Asia as well is our man, the contributor who is also a supporter of the ruling establishment, George Wider. And on the far left is Amos George. Gentlemen, nobody saw this coming. I had no clue what was happening. The whole narrative in the media industry has taken a change. Electronic media is flaming up. I'm not sure we're going to be the talking point within the corridor of the Ministry of Information, even within the principal streets, and not to mention within the diaspora. Let's start the conversation here. George Wider, you support this government here. Here we are this Wednesday evening, a bombshell news coming. When I got that alert on my phone from friends and inside Liberia, and I subsequently to validate that, visited the executive mansion to website, and indeed, it was there. How has it been received in the corridor that the guy who was the face of the CDC, who waged a campaign, who created core words to enhance the presidency of George Weah, he has defended his government to the teeth. And here he is this Wednesday evening. It's a different narrative. What's happening in the CDC world?
So, thank you. Look, as you admit, it has brought about mixed feelings among the supporters and sympathizers of this government. For me personally, I'm also entrenched into that. And what I see is that, look, you can hate him or love him. I think Mr. Fagon is a very formidable force. He's very eloquent in what he does. He's above everything, he's a machine by himself. So losing him for this. However, sometimes when you find out that you are good at what you do, you sometimes don't see the little thin line between what is proven and what is not. So I think on several occasions he has crossed the line. But look, I think there's time to be born and there's time to die. So look, everything has time, and I think it is the end of the road for him. And we all appreciate what he's done for this party and for our country. But there's time to not say. So I think that's what is happening now. People are very anxious as to what is going to happen next because we know him. He's not going to keep quiet. But we all know it's there. So,
you know him. You're not going to keep quiet. Before I go to the Liberal, I'm wondering whether he was treated as if Donald Trump did to James Comey. Comey went on a special FBI training in California next to Samson Toll. And he threw a bomb there on the Twitter feed, said, this guy is fired. I don't even know how he managed to get back to Washington, D.C. Anywhere are you getting? We try to get information as to whether there was a phone call or it was just flamed up on the social media or electronic cable wire. Any information as to how This was communicated with Mr. Minister Fagon, former Minister Fagon.
From what I'm hearing, from what I gather, there was a form of communication to him. That's what I'm told. That he was informed prior to the publication of the dismissal. But look, these things happen in politics. You know, I think you already know that even in the former vice president, Mr. Bwaka, he was away from the country and he was fired. So look, these things happen.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Correct political correctness in the media industry. The Libera is smiling. I don't know whether it's for or against or where he's going to find himself here. Libera, you have cried baby cry on this network. You have cried town cry. You have cried all of the town cry. Fagon needs to do this. Fagon needs to do this. You seem to be at peace tonight.
Thank you for having Mr. So, Mr. Wira, good evening. Mr. George, good evening. I found it very difficult to believe that the Wira we know will be talking as though his mic is not working, because we can hardly hear Wira speaking. So is it Wira crawl into Australia hole tonight because of what have happened, Mr. So? I don't know, but this is what I have to say, Mr. So. While I do not agree with Mr. Fagon on many of these statements and how he carried on himself in the Republic of Liberia, one thing I do know, and I'm from the countryside, loyalties for us means a lot. Loyalty means a lot. A friend, a loyal friend means a lot. What happened here, whether Fagon was informed or not, I think it is regrettable, and not only that, it is very, very sad. I feel like the good doctor doesn't even have a heart to know this is Fagon that go to bat for this president and CDC. This is Fagon that when he read it, instead of him going and signal like many other minister, deputy, he will come out and defend undefensible of this government. And now you're going to tell me he's going to be in the United States and the president and his people will now go and say, we'll relieve you of your position. Where are the people that are supposed to have the bike of Mr. Fagon? Because Mr. Fagon when he speaks for these, I don't agree with him. I despise most of the things he says, but loyalty means something. This young man left from here, went to Liberia to wait for this government. This young man from time to time continued to insist that this government will survive, even though nobody challenged that. But to be dismissed in this manner, it is uncalled for and it's unacceptable. However, if the president, you are dismissed and you are working on the will and pleasure of the president. But the president, someone who is not of the Congo descendant, he shouldn't have dismissed somebody in such a manner. This is something that perhaps Fagon should have been warned, or even Fagon should have been invited. But this is what I predict. Two things I will predict before I close here, Mr. So. One prediction, that Mr. Fagon going to be called back and given another position. Another prediction, if they are not CDC, if they are not careful, because the young people are going to say, is it how you treat your loyal soldier? Then I hate to be your loyal enemy. Sam Sinto.
Before I go to the far right in Atlanta, Georgia, I'm not sure this extension he's giving is in goofy. Are you playing to hypocrisy at the highest level? Because we have a tape here. Fagon needs to go. Fagon needs to go. Is there another version of celebrations you try to put out here and you want to put it in a human context here? The Libera.
Mr. So, perhaps you did not hear me. I need to disabuse you a little bit on this platform here tonight. I am not here to take prisoner. I am serious. Mr. Fagon, I don't agree with many of the things Mr. Fagon has stated, and many of the way Mr. Fagon have attacked other people. However, my concern is the loyalty aspect of Mr. Fagon. Mr. Fagon is so loyal to the CDC and this president that he has gotten himself so many enemies. I mean, not literally, but so many people that don't like him. Now, Mr. Fagon, yeah, you can dismiss him. And his work at the will and pleasure of the president. That's understandable. But we, as Liberians, we are one person. We have loyalty with respect. For him to be dismissed in this disgraceful manner, I don't accept it, and I feel bad about it.
So probably we're going to see another Michael Cohen from Liberia, Ty Fagon. He knows a lot. My guess here to flip on the president or the CDC. That's not what I'm saying.
I don't think Fagon will do that. I don't think Fagon will do that. Fagon is a friend. If you've been listening to Fagon with his fact and friction,
when you started being a friend to Fagon, okay, let me just park you in a garage, stay right there, like a race car.
Yeah. How did you will park the liberal in the garage? It's not going to work, Mr. So. It's not going to work.
Pa George.
Yeah.
Let me bring you in here. This is very strange, very unusual getting this sort of soundbite from this guy, this liberal here. He has been yelling, screaming, baby crying here all along for Fagon, Nathaniel McGee, and all of these folks to go. Now, the president picked up the 3 a.m. phone call this morning and say, hey, Fagon, you're gone. And the meeting here is he was not suspended. It's not a reshuffle. It's a reassignment. He's been dismissed. And yet he's telling us that he will be reassigned. What's the probability? What is your reaction following that news?
Let me say this. Eugene Fagon used to be my good friend. When I say he used to, because since one another for years, we are not getting in touch. But we usually and myself play football together. We ate together. We've been able together. And I was on a program one day from London. And usually I can call the host of the program and told the host everything about me. Then the host asked me, do you know the deputy minister? I said, who is it? I said, usually I said, oh, I don't want to call our nickname. But yeah, that we're buddies. And I asked, I congratulated him. Tell the minister if he can give you his numbers. I want to reach him. The minister never responded since that day. Never. But he only came to react to, I was saying something about the first day of Liberia at the time. And that was the end of it. But I would say, I wish him the best in all his endeavor. And anybody, I can disagree with you, but when you lost your job, you know, it's a little bit tough. Because you got family to support, so that's it. But let me get to the issue. Mr. Fagon was very divisive. I must say this. Very divisive in his utterances. And that got me concerned. And that was when I to tell him, hey, bro, you're working for the government, fine. But you know the song, remember the song? The same play pass by when you're going up, when you're coming down, you meet those same people down. And
meaning he deserved what he got?
No, I'm just saying that you should be careful whatever you do. And Minister Fagon went up, I'm still down here. And he back again. I'm still here. So you don't have to offer your friends anything. But the hello, that's enough. But maybe I might be someone different now. Minister Fagon never cared. And I used to say, I said, Minister Fagon is very divisive in your utterances in Liberia. I mean, talk about Congo country. But there was some contradiction in his utterances because his party chairman is a Congo board. I know the URE. That's not a country board. And you come to bash other people of being Congo. That's not right for the country. And this is why I'm always careful. When you say anything about other people, and this is what Minister Fagon has done in Liberia. He has rubbed many elbows, rubbed many elbows.
So are you saying here he raised his own alligator or what?
Yeah, Minister Fagon utterances. You talk to people, he's not someone who will love many Liberians, especially those who are those who are educated. Many of them disagree with his utterances. You remember one time he said something that the State Department had to come and the person had to suspend him for some time, I think a month or so. So, and I don't know what he learned from that. And today now he's been. But remember, Mr. Fagon, one of his things said one time that even if the president of Liberia dismisses him, If we cause him to sell cold water to survive, he will still support the president. And to the labor, let me tell you, labor, Mr. Toll, you being loyal to somebody, it doesn't mean that that person cannot get rid of you when you are doing something wrong to it that way, intend to hide the country. That's not what loyalty means. So I want to labor. Being loyal is good, but you don't take advantage of that loyalty that you will not be dismissed. You can do anything and get away with it. I don't think that's how loyalty should be defined in our setting today. You can be friends with me, but if we are doing something and I see it wrong, I must tell you that what you're doing is wrong. Not because you and myself are best friends, so I should just keep you and continue to do what you're doing. But I don't know the circumstances for which the minister was dismissed for. But that is the prerogative of the president. But I just want to take note of that point. Hey, loyalty, that's one good thing. But I think the country comes first. And as I said, I don't know the circumstances he was dismissed. Hey, but I empathize with him because he has lost the job. He has a family to support. But I wish him all the best.
Okay, so since you don't know, let me make it clear. I don't usually, we don't just grab news from the social media. The Liberal are going to come here, we're going to bring in Widow here, but this is the official statement from the executive mansion website that announces the dismissal of, and this is the caption here: President Weah relieves Deputy Information Minister Eugene Fagon. Moreover, Liberia, the President of the Republic of Liberia, Dr. George Manneh Weah, has relieved with immediate effect Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs at the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism, Michael Eugene Fagon, of his post. Minister Fagon's removal is as a result of spreading false information regarding the government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic currently ravaging the country. The president has warned that he will not hesitate to take similar actions against any other official government engaged in activities that undermine established government policy. Look, gentlemen, let's have a conversation here. This is sort of and if I see liberal like they who usually don't agree with us, to be whacking his head all around here, this seems not to be the real motive. It could be one of the probable cause for which Fagon has felt the weight of the president, a close guy who facts versus factions and all of that. Look, the liberal.
Yes.
This is a statement coming from the official website of the executive mansion, the office of the president, pinpointing specific reason why Minister Fagon was released of his post.
Well, I'm not going to dispute the president reason. Like I said, the Fagon worked for the president at the pleasure and will of the president. You can get fired anytime, no question asked. But if what I'm read from or listening to Fagon, if this is what they're talking about, then I think because Fagon they made it clear in his video that there were people that were going to be lying to the president, that the people would take money in a sense to say you would financially benefit right now, but your people would die and your legacy would suffer. And I think if that's what it is, if that's what they're firing him for, I mean, that's whatever they fire him for is up to them. But my point here is this: the point that I'm making, Fagon is a lawyer. People say, well, blind loyalty. I'm not even questioning that. Fagon is a lawyer, supporters of this government and the CDC. Now, they can fire him if he's doing something wrong. That's not my point. My point is, if Fagon is doing something that 2-3 days ago, he was on air condemning people, senators, calling names, and what have you. And there was nothing from this government to say you can't be so divisive. What exactly the Fagon said about the coronavirus that is not true? Are people not lying to the president? Is that why the Fagon said people shouldn't take the vaccine? Is that why? What exactly the Fagon say that make the government to say the man is spreading rumors? What rumor is he spreading? They're not being specific on that. And what I believe happened and if you listen to Falcon video, he said, I think there must have been a rift already before Falcon left Liberia. I think there must have been some issue already, because he said on his video, people will lie to you. They're not telling you the truth. Our people are dying. Even if it's 20 dying a day, we must be truthful. Falcon said that on his video. So if that's what they got fired for, that's the way they interpret. I mean, they interpret the video. That's okay. But my point that I'm making, Mr. So, before I close here, is that for me, friend and loyalty means a lot. Now, if Dr. Weir feels like he does not need blind loyalty, that conversation should have happened almost 2 years ago. Falcon have never hate himself. When Falcon got involved with that, he expressed to the public, he expressed to everyone, including Dr. Weir himself, who he is and what is he about. You remember the issue with him and Snow? He wasn't hiding himself. I think that's when the conversation should have happened. But now you want to say Falcon is spreading lies. Now you know he's lying. This is unbelievable.
Okay, before we come, let's listen to some of the soundbite right here on our own LPR during the heat of the election, the defense, his political argument that has been put up here. Okay, I told you guys, the Director General of the Liberian New Agency, Director Kwame Opawis, is right here with us now. Let me bring in the Director General, and we're going to have a conversation here. I'm not sure what is going on within the walls of the Ministry of Information. That's not a talking point here. We're going to get his take, what is happening, or what we're going to be developing tomorrow morning when he rolls in our work. I mean, welcome, Director Weiss. Director Weiss, good evening, and welcome.
Thanks for having me, guys. Okay. Nice to meet the Libera again.
The Libera, this guy, man, he's not a guy to make friends with. Anyway, so thank you so much, Director, for honoring our invitation at a very shortest time, just this evening. And I was touched of something that I saw and watched in, I believe it was today's program. Let me see if we can play that here a little bit, and we can get to a. All right, this is it.
Going through the preliminary investigation. He's a pre-trial detainee at the moment, and sometimes they go as far as 2-3 years there while they're waiting. And you heard what the survivor just said, that you know, her entire life, even if she's fondling with her phone, she would just start to cry, you know, and all of that. We are trying to help this girl get her life back. And for all of you that are watching, somebody said, "I love to help her and do all we have to do to give her a life back." We're trying to also see if we can raise some money to get her back into school and give her a smile back in the face. And trying to see if we can, because maybe it's not a case where she has to go back to Sanicoli. Who are you living with here now in this house?
I live with my auntie.
With your auntie?
Yeah.
You're currently here with your auntie?
Yes.
Okay. And talk to us about your auntie.
She's good.
Okay.
She makes me feel happy.
So your auntie now, you feel secure with your auntie.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, she never make me laugh.
She tried to make you to laugh all the time.
Okay, this is something for the most part people listen to them here, but I listened to this thing and I was boiling with him, Mr. Ty Weeks, with this sort of interview here. I've never heard something like this. More or less, you have changed the media industry, taking the microphone to hidden places and giving people the opportunities to hear these sort of chilling story. Let me ask you, how was this all connection made? How you got this piece of information? How you arrived at this point to find this lady?
Thank you so much, guys. And if it was just for something else, I would say we do not want to reveal our source because, you know, in this case, it has to do with rape and incest. And this is a minor, and we try to do everything possible to make sure we stay within the lane of professional reporting. You see that, or you saw that we only show her hands. We had a pillow a case right there with her, and that was enough. We tried to only, change her name. We didn't have that power to muffle her voice because we didn't have that kind of equipment. But we did all we could do just to keep her, in that line.
Wow. So I listened to it. Where is the father as far as you are concerned at this point in time? And what is being done by the advocacy community? The story is horrifying. I just can't believe for a father, I believe if I'm correct, if I'm going off the rail here, just let me know to do such a thing to their own child. I can't believe it.
To be honest with you, this is not my first time. I've seen this multiple times, even in the country that we're all living in before. This is not something that is kind of unique to our culture. Here you will hear about rape and all of that, but incest was something more like a taboo. But what makes this story so appalling and very, 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 disturbing is the fact that he had this child and he fled, he left, he went away. He will only come back 13 years, I think 13 years later, and she didn't know. And it was her mom who was telling her, look, that's your dad, run to him. Then she ran to him. They hugged and all of that. And then he left. 2 years later, he planned this he concocted this evil plan and sent for the little girl from San Nicole. Then she will then come to Monrovia, where he had her two other siblings, a little boy and a girl. And that time she was like 16, So she now saying, wow, my father's back in my life. And the person besides God, she can run to and be safe and all of that. I got two daughters on my own, man. I just could not fathom what I was watching. And when that, guys, I tell you, Alfonso, when I got into the yard, the girl, when she spotted us, she ran inside the room. We had to negotiate to get her outside. That's how traumatized. And there are stories like this, all over the place. And what's so appalling that everywhere you go, all families and people who try to treat this like, it has to do with government. It's something that is culturally, crafted most of the time. You got uncle calling, want to negotiate. You got aunties, and these are things. These stories are all over the place just because they are sometimes blaming the survivor. In most cases, why you dress like that? Why you walk like that? Why you do? And then my question to them would be like, we all love apples. We go in the supermarket, we see apple. How about snatch one and run outside and see if you will not spend your life, the rest of your life in jail or pay for that, compared to seeing a girl say because she has a miniskirt, so I'm gonna just jump on her, And that's the flimsy excuse they have. But the thing is, as the politicians are at each other's throat, these are the ordinary citizens that are struggling day by day, that are dying, that reporters are not putting their cameras on. So I thought to divert it to human interest stories and see how best we can all help and live our country out of this particular quagmire.
How long she lived in this sort of condition? Did she tell you anything of that? How long she lived on our roof with this guy?
From 16 years till just 7 days ago, she got out of it, because it was June 15 when it all was over, when the curtain came raining down and he got taken to Poststacket. As we speak, not Poststacket, sorry, South Beach. As we speak now, he is in South Beach, pre-detainee trial. And I know, especially when it comes to criminal code E, based on the way back, he talking about seeing a judge in the next 2 years.
Let me bring back here a little bit. Let me listen to your interaction, and then I'll bring my guys to get a sense of, and the audience, those who never had the opportunity to see it.
I know that because we came into the house and all of that. She kept telling you, these people are not bad people, talk to them and so forth. Yeah. Ruth Samuel says some Liberian men are sick people going after little girls. My God, help our little girls. Deborah, she said we need to check the little sister as they had been having sex with her big sister, and they didn't want the small sister. Blah, blah, blah. Wow, Lord have mercy. So, guys, we're gonna put out a cash app number, and we're gonna put out we're gonna put we're gonna put out
Let me
the
see
number
here. Let me
for you
just
to
Yeah, put it back. Put it back to where
you
she's
want to give, you
speaking.
want to send that donation,
okay. Let me see here.
pay some money to what they're saying. You should be unaware. Wife.
Yes, I
Before you
do.
told the landlord's wife, were you worried about the medicine thing that he said he brought from
Yes,
Guinea?
yes, I'm worrying about
What was running in your mind?
it.
What was running in your mind?
If I thought okay, maybe that medicine will do something,
You would die.
Yes.
So after you told the landlord, or that you told your landlord's wife, were you scared now? You were just waiting to fall down and die?
Yes.
And when you didn't die, what next did you do?
She tell me I should call my mom and tell her.
So the landlord's wife
Yeah.
told you now, call mommy and tell mommy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I told the pastor and I told the name myself. I'm not.
Oh, you told your own pastor.
Yeah.
What did the pastor do about it?
Yeah, the pastor said I should call my mom and tell her.
So the pastor instructed you to call your mom.
Yes, and tell her.
Okay, so you call mom.
Yes, I told my
Okay,
mom.
so explain to us when you call mom what the mom said.
Yeah. The time I called my mom to tell her, she said that she coming in Monrovia and she wait. Yeah. So after that, they come and they even call me to go to town hall. Because from our school to town hall, if I area waiting for me, and so the second day and they call me now. And she said, I even tell all the people, I even tell many people in the community, I tell them, "Nah, let me be unexpecting it."
Okay, so you told many people in the community.
Yeah, I told many people in the community, I say he must be unexpecting it. Yeah. So after then, all men can't and wait for me to town hall, and I decided to go to the police station.
Y'all went to the police station.
Yeah.
So let me look. This one here,
Wow.
Direct Weeks. It reminds me about this guy, NBC. Is it Chris Haynes or whatever? How to call this? What his name again? They have this thing on NBC. So, so why the mother? There was a call, and my guess here, and you can confirm that because you went into a lengthy discussion with her. I believe she told the mother exactly what was going on. I don't know how did she tell you how long it took her mother to come to town?
When the mom heard it, instantly, according to her, the mom said, "Don't say a word. I'm on my way." She said within 24 hours, mom tried to, put some little cash together, and she was on her way. Mind you, that's her favorite daughter. She kept this girl. After he had her, he left. Like most of us will do. It's just common in this town, and he left for 13 years. He shows up for a couple of hours, and there was his plan. It was premeditated. So he shows up.
Director Weiss, do you know whether some sort of medical treatment is being provided to her now? Because if you see,
Yeah,
you see, I mean, you can see.
yeah. The group, which I cannot say the name, they are now, doing some medical stuff with her. Mind you, he took his daughter to see a local nurse that he knew, and was asking that she gets family planning, so that because he thought he was smart, because if she gets pregnant, basically the DNA will reflect the child to be that's his child. And so first he say, so the nurse asked, but why you want your daughter to do DNA when in fact you told me she was virgin, she's not having sex? And he said, no, just in case she decides to have sex. Imagine that.
So basically here, gentlemen, you guys, I believe you get a little setting of what is happening right now. It seems to me, Director Weeks, all of his actions is fair to come to a complete judgment that everything was perfectly calculated. He knew what he was doing.
Right. Indeed, he knew it. He knew.
Director Weeks, let me ask you this question.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, all these people she mentioned, The end of the people went to law enforcement to let the police or the gender minister, the end of the people, the pastor, the landlord, the anybody go to just let the police, hey, this is what's going on, keep you can come and do some investigation. The end of the people do.
And that's the culture of rape. You see, none of them did it. Especially what Bottoming was the pastor.
Yeah, because
she told the pastor, and he said nothing, and he said, "Inform your mom."
Yeah, because my point I'm driving here, these people should be charged. They should be charged because this girl told them something that they know is against the law, and they decide not to go to inform law enforcement. So it means that they was aiding that action of that man. If they were not aware, she told them. So they don't have to go to question him. They would have just gone to law enforcement or the gender ministry and report it. They will use their expertise now to come to do a follow-up. But once they fail to do that, that means they are all part of the problem. So that's why I'm trying to say, since they didn't do anything, and this girl, that's a teenager. She did her part. She played her part. She told people. Now, since they didn't do that, would there be any legal action taken against somebody?
From what we know now, we know that the perpetrator himself is behind bars, and I don't see him ever seeing the light of day. But like what you said, that's a great point. If all of us, because see something, say something. Now the church is supposed to be a place where all of us go there. If they're taking our offerings and they're guiding us, if they see something, I think he would have been the first person to have gone to the cops. Though the girl did not say who she told besides the pastor and her mom, she said she told a lot of people in the area. And they all told her, go tell your mom.
No, Director, let me just say this. This is why we are encouraging. Because all these people this young girl told her pain and suffering to.
And nobody forward and wait all that time.
It's like, Director, I come and tell you, I said, look, I'm going to bomb the executive mansion tonight or tomorrow.
Right.
And you don't do anything. I go and bomb the mansion.
If it comes out tomorrow, if it comes out tomorrow that I knew, I should be held. I should be.
You can see the information. You can see that information. Who should I save?
That's correct.
I save a whole lot of life. And that's my point I'm driving. And I just want to say this. Thank you, but I think the authority in Liberia should start thinking on these things like this. These people there should be something to be done with these people, so the next person can learn a lesson that when somebody can tell you something that is in danger of their life, you should inform law enforcement. Let me just stop there. Maybe the other people can.
Wow. It's this. Yeah, go ahead, Widow.
Look, I'm just so broken with this sort of happenings. Look, but what I want to say at first is that whether it was premeditated or not, this is grave. So I don't even if you were maybe walking while asleep or anything, it's wrong and it shouldn't be. And yes, the other thing I want to say about our Liberia context, I think the lawmakers have to come to this table. I think there should be a law. Where I live now in Australia, there is a law that if you see a child is abused and you don't say anything, you can go to prison for 5 years.
Wow.
It's in the law. So if you see even a child is being fed properly and you don't report it to the authority, you can go to jail. And if that law is enacted in Liberia, I'm sure it will deter a lot of people from keeping these things secret and will help us a lot in dealing with these sort of crimes. And to say it was meditated or premeditated, I don't want to even mention that, because this is appalling, and we should all condemn it as it is. Because even if the guy was sleepwalking, it's egregious. So that's why I want to stop. It's so crazy.
Okay, Deliberate.
Yes, Mr. So, good evening, Director. I also want to welcome you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, big brother.
Before I go on to national issue, I want to ask you to please be careful out there with that the disease. I know you
Of
guys are the
course.
big boys and big shots,
Oh,
but whenever you go, please, or anywhere else, please uh, cover
Maxa.
your mouth. We still love you a lot, and there's you got a
Thank you.
lot of people you know that. So please take care of yourself. I know our people are now quite well educated in terms of how to handle this disease. But
Right.
please do your best to first protect yourself, and then of course you will tell other people to do that as well.
Indeed.
One other thing I want to say, Mr. Weeks, is that I, of course, do truly appreciate things that you do, and that I've been following your video. I was one of those when you first got the position. I was a little bit skeptical,
yeah.
but then, of course, you
Now
make
he
it a
putting his
pro.
own foot in his mouth here this evening.
Don't worry about it, Mr. Thomas. You know me.
That's what he
I,
do.
I speak my mind. So
That's what he
please,
do.
Go ahead. Let's see you
Mr.
putting your
Director,
own
I'm just
foot in your
saying
mouth.
that I was a little bit skeptical, but after a while, you really took this thing to the next level. Why some of us continue to consider ourselves to be opposition, but you, the way you go about showing Liberia, not only are you showing Liberia in the right light, but you also put Liberia on the map, because many of the investors and things, I bet they go and view these things. And when you go, the narratives that you give with your video and thing clearly demonstrate what is happening in that area. For example, you went one time to Bummy Hill and you started showing, I'm interested in the road business, and you started showing the role and what the government is doing, this thing that those are things that really shine as far as I'm concerned. So I appreciate, but I should be very careful how I praise you, because this is
Oh,
Liberia. I don't want to come out here and start praising you, though. Or something for President coming week. We better start looking at it. So I think you're doing your job. Keep it up, and we'll continue to pray for you. As far as this rape stuff is concerned, this is not your first video that you have shown. We saw you show
Right.
another little girl who was raped some time ago, and
Right.
you showed that. It also, in a very serious manner now, it also showed that you're not just sitting in your office like many people would do. You go out to show, even if it's not pleasant for any Liberians, but they are forced to watch these things, and then perhaps they would come out with solutions.
Right.
The lawmakers
Right.
and think these things don't look good for them. And
Right.
I'm glad you're doing it. And it's not because you want to degrade the country or degrade the lawmakers, but to say, look, these are things that are happening in this country. And when you guys are elected to carry out certain function, we want you to do your job. Not because of this kinds of stuff. We're hearing now that this man is in jail. Why would
Right.
you do that? This is not criminal, but God will strike you. Simple. Even if they don't do anything, God will strike you, and God can never forgive those kinds of behavior. So I want to tell you, thank you. I hope you continue to do it, and I will continue to pray for you. Please be careful. Take care of yourself as well.
okay. So Director Willis, let me ask you, how long do you intend to pursue this case here for us to get to the grand finale? This is it's just unbelievable to see what is. Imagine this thing it happened. Is that in Morovia or in Nima? I think Kwame is frozen. Director Willis, are you hearing me? No, I think
Yeah,
yeah, I think his let me move in and see whether it will recover, but his line is frozen. We'll be pivoting here as usual to come to our news of the day. Are you there, Kwame? Okay, that's the beauty of that's
he's one of the government officials that I really respect, and I'm an ardent follower of his
okay. Let me get here. Okay, so let's come back to this evening talking point here. Let's go to the soundbite of the minister himself during his appearance on the Liberia Public Radio.
Or a blueprint. The only thing we have to show for the
It's just a yes or nothing but aspirin. And we can count the death over and over and will not be able to give you.
Do you see? Do you see the end? Are we coming to the end of the tunnel in the next 14 days? In your word, political cartels, people that have used national state resources to enrich themselves. Are we looking at the last 14 days to be the end of the tunnel? Is that something that you perceive? If the guy or the group, the coalition that you support, if they do win that election, is that the end of the tunnel?
That is the end for the cartel. It will not be the end of the tunnel.
Is there any? Do you have any skepticism, Mr.
Okay, I believe.
Absolutely. You see, there's no probable cause of the cartel in your word.
Okay, we'll come back here. Let's see here. I believe Director Weeks is here. Okay, are you there? Director Weeks, are you there? Still having issue with the system out there. That's just too bad. We still having issue. It's frozen, so we can't get in. Okay, let me see here. Let me just get him out here and see. Okay, something just what you said. Let's get some reaction already here. You know Christopher Tobasi. He's another that has sedition.
No.
He's already like a loose cannon right now as we speak. All of the forums, tweeting, posting. This is what he's saying. The president we are. It's wrong for firing one of his loyal generals. Mr. President, do not force some of your trusted lieutenants and generals to join your political enemies forcibly. Also, Mr. President, why fire Minister Fagon for opposing views on some government officials lying about COVID-19? This is exactly what you were saying, something.
Yes, yeah.
Let me bring him a sedition here. Widow there, I believe he's looking at some of what is coming out from the poll. Do you see there as a potential a little bit hair scratching thing within the CDC with the removal of Fagon? They've been seen as a very good asset to the ascendancy of President Weah.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I think Mr. Fagon has been a very, strong pillar of the CDC and this government. But look, we should all also, know that the president can hire and he can fire, and maybe there are some reasons that this has happened that we don't know. So for me, condemning the president about the firing, I don't think it's the right thing to do now. Is to find a way forward.
Okay, obviously, Director Wishes Nostri, I know he's a government official. He would choose to say whatever he want to say. If he doesn't want to, that's fine. But before coming to that here, I was just asking, are you there now? Are you hearing us now?
100%.
Yeah. Are you there? You hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I don't know why it's sounding a little bit low. Your volume. Can you check your volume and see whether?
Seems like he's far from the mic.
Yeah, it's like somebody is far. So what about?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Still low.
It's still a little bit low. Yeah, is there a way you can adjust it somehow there? Okay, are you there? Yeah. Your microphone says is muted. Check your microphone. Let me see here. Did I? Did I? No, not me. It's muted from your end. So unmute yourself. Check your microphone is muted, so you gotta check your mic. I think it's okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, much perfect. Okay, I was just asking you before we pivot, before we get to the developing news here to get your take as well. I was asking how you intend to pursue
this case here so that you know, it will really come to light and we will know exactly how it ends. Where is she now?
I
Is
don't
she
know
with
if
the
they can hear
authority
me.
or is still under the roof? We're hearing you. Are you hearing me, Connie? All right. I think there's a problem with. I'm getting you loud. Are you hearing me? Okay. I think it's just not doing on a favor. So we gotta move on here. We gotta move on with the program because we gotta keep.
Is there a way you can contact him through Messenger?
All right. So let's come back to the conversation. Hopefully, when he comes back, he will. So with this here, I try to lose position, but let me just come back here. We're seeing some young seditions tweeting, writing now. Pa George,
Yeah.
uh, is he a risk, or is it because people are being outcrying about Minister Fagon and the president sees it as a perfect time to have him recorded, or what?
No, look, Mr. Slow. This for me, the president, Minister Fagon work at the will and pleasure of the president. If the president desires to release him, that's it. Minister Fagon,
Right.
he's still a member of the party. He can work as he stated. He will still be loyal to. He will remain in the party. He'll be loyal to the president. So that's just for me. Other thing, other institutions are saying, okay, yeah, that's their feeling. But I just want to say the reason that the president stated for dismissing Union Falcon is laughable. Laughable. It's just laughable. You saw the post of the SG, the Solicitor General. And you know what happened? My late nephew, called me today. And I told him, I said, hey, go and find means to get the vaccine. It's weird. He said, oh, he called me daddy. He said, daddy. Well, and one other BMN post that said, after 2 years, plenty people die. And that was the post of the Solicitor General.
Is our chat is in our LPR chat room?
Yes. Will the president fire him? Using Falcon was raising issues, which is a legitimate thing. People lie to authority in Liberia. They are not doing their job. The Minister of Health, she said, what, they got 100 canister and they're trying to buy 100, no cylinder to put all the oxygen tank. What they've been doing since this thing hit Liberia a year plus. So if Minister Falcon is saying some people will be deceiving the president and predicated upon that the president he firing for that, it's just laughable. I think the president just got tired of Falcon and say, hey, it's time for you to go. That's it. That's just how I look at it. So those citizens to see them who posting, hey, come on, man. You put your
okay. So all right, Director Weeks, this is not something I know we have other thing, but you know, in this business, in the middle of something where another thing pops out, obviously intercede, it becomes the point of conversation. I'm not sure whether you want to weigh in, but you on ground now, what is happening? What do you think the conversation going to be like? You upstairs, right down there at the Ministry of Information. This guy has been very forceful in articulating, to reconstructing the message of the government. And yeah, we are this afternoon. This news came out. Was that something that was eminent around there before it got out in the public domain?
I don't know if I'm audible enough, but your senior, your senior contributor, the old man right there, said it right. At the will and pleasure, it's up to the president to decide who he puts on his team, at what point his will, what time his pleasure kicks in, and even me myself. Right after this interview, there could be like, my man, rest, because you didn't say something good to the liberal. And stuff like that. So basically, that's how government works. But Fagon remains loyal to the party. Even me myself, if I got kicked out and say, my man, they called you, I will forever remain loyal to my party, and its beliefs. I will be on. The same thing happened with Samuel Wozi. Wozi is still loyal to the party, and I know my brother Fagon
will be. There are so many other roles he can play. But
yeah,
like what his name said, that you know, losing your job at this particular moment is a tough one.
Of course, you know.
it's a tough one. Yet, Moserado County senior, not senior senator, Moserado County Senator Abraham Darrell Dillon has already jumped into this here. Facts versus fiction, true or false. The Liberal Progressive, that's your partisan.
I'm just gonna grab it from you right away and say the senator have no place in this type of conversation. He's a Liberian, but he should act like a responsible person than to jump in these kinds of things and try to ridicule Falcon. I think that's very low of him, and that's unacceptable as well. Because why? We all here believe he's doing a good job, but to come this low and try to poke fun of somebody who, because he got fired, well, the reason we don't know for sure. But for the senator to come and try to make a fun of it, I don't agree with it. Now, let me just say this here, Mr. So, Mr. Falcon. One thing I do believe, if I was someone who was still in charge, I mean, in communication with Falcon, I would ask him to do a press conference and clear the president of whatever malice all of young sedition might have on this matter, and say I work at the pleasure and will of the president, and I will support the party. Let Falcon come out now to say, I am still here and I will support the party. I think it will go a long way than if he sits and people start improvising, people start making things up. Or the Falcon said that Falcon, I think it's going to hurt both the president and Mr. Falcon image as well. Because just remember this, nobody forced Falcon to speak on behalf of the president. Nobody forces Falcon to speak the way he does about issue affecting Liberia. And many of us don't like it. And many of us in the opposition don't like it. But this is what he wants to do. So I think he should continue with it. And I doubt it if Falcon will even turn against this president. Falcon, to be honest with you, Falcon, seriously, do love the president. Do love Opon. Do love Dr. Weir. There's no question asked. So I think Falcon himself is quite I think he understands that there might be some heavy hand on this thing here about him being dismissed. So I think, but what I also want to say, Mr. So, the brothers and sisters, the people are supposed to back somebody. Falcon is not somebody that we don't know. He should have somebody in there that will go to bat for him and not to be quiet and everybody else.
Hold on 1 second.
It's not over yet.
Okay, before Director Weeks come in and Pat George here, I try to sense out here, you like, for you as a laborer, you always on the labor side of the world. Do you see him being betrayed? Nobody intercede, nobody say, okay, let's give you a warning, let's do a suspension, let's reassign. Is that how you see it?
Well, I won't use the word betrayal, because the president can fire anybody. Even I'm not working for him. He can get up tomorrow and say something to you.
I can even tell you to go after this program as well. Nobody going to question me.
Who will fire me? You? I'm the chairman. I am the chairman of the board. You are the CEO. Mr. Weeks, could you please tell this man that the chairman of the board, the CEO cannot fire the chairman of the board? And that's the kind of abuse I get from Mr. So every day. He threatens me every day of firing me. Now he comes out. But that's besides the point. No, I would take the war betrayal, because I don't think the government or anybody in Dr. Weir position will want to betray anyone. That's not the case. I think if we want to speculate, I think the president just had it with Mr. Falcon and his way of expressing things. But I think what should have happened was Falcon should have been called back to Monrovia. Say, I want you here tomorrow. Let Falcon spend more money, because if you buy a ticket ahead, 1 day ticket costs more money. Let Falcon spend $7,000 one-way ticket and sit down in front of the president, and the president tells him, my man, we're here to do the people work. You can't do X, Y, and Z. But to say you're dismissed, I think that's a little bit too far.
Mr. Todd, let me ask you this question. Are you telling me, since you speak of loyalty, so are you telling me because of loyalty, if someone works for you, they like you, they love you, and they're doing something contrary to what you believe in, you will not get rid of them?
Not at this time. Not at this time. I will not do that. I think the conversation would have gone a long way. Mr. George, let's understand that Falcon, in his position, he speaks why we don't like it. But many of the time he defends the government on many issues that we don't agree with. Okay? So because of that.
The question I'm asking you, Mr. Falcon, is not the way of fan. Mr. Falcon works at the will and pleasure of the president, and he carries a mandate of the president to serve the Liberian people. And if the president, in his capacity, deemed it necessary at any time to say, hey, you got to go, I want to tell you, it's not about loyalty. It is about what the president believes, his policy. That means, Mr. Falcon,
I agree. I'm not questioning that.
Okay.
I'm not questioning that. My only question is that I feel, and I have the right to do that. I feel Falcon is loyal, and he has paid his debt.
It's no
for
right
him to be fired, this to be dismissed this way. But the president has the right. But what I'm afraid of, and I'm not afraid of it. I will love it.
Okay,
it's the confusion that coming into CDC. That I will love, but it shouldn't be at the expense of another brother.
Okay, come in, guys. Director Weeks, you want to weigh in?
I'm just enjoying the exchange between them.
Yeah, I think we'll still have to find a time, and I hopefully try other thing, because while we had this year and other big thing, this thing just crumble over us today. But let's pivot with that, because you that was your immediate boss. I understand these are consequential, volatile thing to speak in that, and we're not going to put you in any situation that is unprofessional here. But let's go to other thing here, and I will deal with these guys. They can respond to that. You always in the streets of Monrovia and other places. The issue of this war and economic crime. Now we're seeing the first branch of government, giving an advice, or to be advising the president on potential action. When you are in the streets of Monrovia and other places, you go outside of Monrovia, what is the conversation? What is the tone with respect to the war and economic crime code?
It is around 1090, 90% against and 10% for. The 90%, maybe we put it as 70, and the 20% say we don't want it now. They want it, but they don't want it now. So 10% is absolutely saying they don't want it. Around 20% is saying we want it now because we're struggling to put food on our tables. We're struggling to commute from one area. Alfonso, I tell you, we went to Lofa, a little town before you get to Konya after Zorza. I met this lady who had a very big, huge peanut farm, and she was selling. They take the 100 pound bag of rice, and they snap another 100 pounds. So it's basically like 200 pounds the size, and they double it and they attach it to be one bag of peanuts that will go for 5,000, which is around $25 United States dollars. If you take that bag to Monrovia, you can sell it. You can sell that maybe over 200%. But guess what? Because there was no means of transportation to get her peanuts to the market, they were all growing in the bags. She had hundreds of those bags, and they were all growing. She said, look, Mr. Weeks, I'm going from nowhere. She had to take those peanuts and spread them in the sun. Then she told me, she said, look, bring your camera. Go on the Liberian News Agency page and see what I'm talking about. We went in her place that she took me. Man, you could see oranges in the sack already damaged. A lot of perishable products. You could see the cassava that we dry, all gone. You could see onions. It was a myth to believe that onions don't grow in Liberia. She held it in. She said, all we want from this particular president, since he calls himself the Barrow medicine, give us our role. We're not lazy people. We the Luffians, we want to win back the bread basket, being the number one of the bread basket. So now, how does that particular woman, you're going to go and ask her about war crimes code? For them, it is over, because our war is not like where you find one person. Trust me, Somebody was saying on Dennis Jar's show, Focus on Liberia, if Prince Johnson dies today, God forbid, nobody will want war crimes court. It is all about regime change. It is all about who becomes the kingmaker. I'm not having problem with our political views. You understand? I don't have problem with choice in that. I can't live in the great United States and say why Democrats sticks to their democratic view, why the liberal always stick to his liberal view, why conservatives are to their conservative view. But mind you, when there is a situation that has to do with the country, they meet at in the middle of the aisle. Joe McCain, the Maverick. We don't have those kind of politicians here today. You understand? This is why you see Brother Dylan them struggling with this $15,000 saga thing, because they came as the savior. And it can't happen in this town. It can't happen in this town. Your hands will eventually get dirty, and then the people will chase you out of town, you know, like one crazy bald head. So war crimes court, they keep singing. It's not now. The population, it's going to be a struggle. Nobody going to come and shove it down the citizens' throat, you know? It's what the citizens want. You need economic stability. You need security. All of those things it's a cocktail of issue before. Alfonso, you know how many brothers and sisters we lost in this place. I got people. Look at Samson Tool there. A lot of people on this platform. But then guess what? It's going to be like the Pied Piper who plays a tune and then the whole thing gets empty tomorrow morning. That's what's going to happen.
But Mr. Director, you strike a point. Let me ask you. Do you believe in impunity?
No, I don't.
Okay, if you don't believe in impunity, why you think that those people that created this mayhem on the Liberian people, and you are a victim, I'm a victim, almost everybody are victim. Why don't you think why you don't want accountability now?
Why we didn't? It is just about moving the goalpost. That's the problem.
Why you think that?
You asked me why, and I'm giving you my answer. I'm giving you my answer. Right. I'm saying we would have had it in 2005. Right after we would have started this discussion 2005. But the man who they're running behind now, guess what? They use him as a kingmaker. When they needed him 2011, they didn't call for it. They kept him in their corner. So it's all about politics. Don't you see?
No, that's your view, but I disagree because one of the key players was in the driver's seat. And how can you be sitting down to prosecute yourself? Which is Ellen Johnson said.
Okay, so you and myself saying the same thing. Hold on. So you are with me.
Hold on. No, I'm not with you because the way you're going, I'm not going that direction. But you say why it was not done that time. And I say,
right,
the person who was in the seat is part of the problem. How can that person?
So, let me ask this thing here. Let's have a conversation here, because this is a very consequential issue here, and people sometimes just throw their head down and think they want to say it their way they should say it. But it's a real national issue here. I'm trying to look at it from a different world in terms of the whole thing. The talking about war and economic. The economic crime code, that's a different thing itself. That's another parcel added to A here. But there are a lot of components involved. You have those who did the physical harm, and you have the financials and all of those people. Are they all going to factor in to bring those people? The liberal.
Yes. Look, Mr. So, you know my position on this war crime court issue here. I am not for retribution. I want to restore the life of the Liberian people. However, I also want the Liberian people to hear the truth for those that were involved. Now, sometimes I feel I sympathize with the president's position. Like when he came back from the United States at the airport, and asked him question, why now? 12 years ago, nobody brought, now it's our turn. Why not? Well, then what I said to the president is make sure that even if it's coming on your watch, that you stay ahead of it and try to direct this traffic instead of you staying behind and letting someone else's direct the traffic. This thing going to happen. Now, the way the politician, what I suspect is happening with the politician, especially from the opposition side, is that they're trying to focus, instead of the war crime issue itself, what happened in Liberia being their focal points. They want to use the economic sabotaging proposition, whatever it is, they want to put that in the front so that the Liberian people can watch what they about the money issue and say who's taking money and what have you, and without then coming to say we want a war crime court to see what we can do to help restore the soul of this country. This is not what's happening. Mr. George, hold on, Mr. George. Hold on with your conservative view. The liberal is on the floor. Mr. George, hold on with your conservative view. The liberal is on the floor. So, no, hold on, folks. Please. So, what I'm saying to you, Mr. So, is this. If these people, if any Liberian want war crime and economic court, that's fine. But you have to state from the beginning what this is about. Do you intend to punish those who you consider to be the main player in this thing, or you trying to restore the Liberian soul? If it is that, stay so from the beginning. Don't let the Liberian people fool the Liberian people to say we're going after something else. Then when they give you the opportunity, then you turn it around, because perhaps if you're in power tomorrow as opposition, then you say, no, I'm not ready for it now. And that's not what I want to do.
Now let me tell you this an issue.
Let me come in there.
President, we have 2004. He spoke. No Liberian, nobody that wastes Liberian blood will go unpunished. There will be a candle. Those are the words of President Weah. Not me.
Roll the tip. Roll the tip. Roll the tip.
It's there. It's there. He himself said
roll the tip. Roll the tip.
The people now trusted him and empower him. Now, the issue we're talking about, economic, all along.
Mr. George, I think you and I have gone through this before. When you are not on top of the mountain, you don't see clear. But when you are on top, no, hold on, Mr. George, let's be realistic here. No, you can't say that. Let's be realistic. When you're on top of the mountain, you see everything clearly. Now, Liberia, Mr. George, please, Liberia is fragile. We all know that. We all know that. Do we have the ability, forget about the security issue, we as a Liberian, do we have the ability to make sure people go to Town and go arrest somebody over there who has nothing to do within the last 15, 20 years? These are kinds of stuff we're talking about. It's not about that you're wrong or right, you're right. But that's what I'm saying.
Guys, can we do it one at a time, please?
Let me come in there.
I gave you time, Mr. Toso. Gave me time, let me land. All along, we say we want the war and economic crime court. Nobody wants to go and grab a whole country and put them in jail. We said, and we are seeing, those who are in command and control, directing the people, those names that are in the TRC report, those are people we are referring to. And we have said it over, and we want the war and economic crime court. Your president today was one of the champions, Moba Molu, throwing casket in Liberia, that he wanted war crime court. Today, they are all become silent because you know why? They are now in the seat.
But that's not a crime, though.
The benefit of the government.
That's not a crime, though.
Can I come in a little bit there? Look, I just want to say that first off, I'm not, for this court. Yes, and that's fair enough. And but here's what I want to say also on the general scale of things. I think that Liberians are not ready as well. And you might argue it,
they're not. They're not.
They're not. Let me tell you something. They are talking about crime, economic crime as well as war crime. What happened recently? The National Election Commission was petro-bombed because of economic crime. Let's just consider it that way. I'm not going to call names here. Let's just look at that situation.
And that's terrorist. That's terroristic.
Yes. Or George, or Associate George house was petro-bombed as well. If people had died, anything had happened, what is the condemnation we see here? Because people are not ready for this. Okay. But they are not doing it because they want to get a kingmaker out of the place so that they can get to political powers. That's the whole thing about this thing. And I don't know why it's hard for people to believe. And here's the problem with Liberians. Liberians don't do their own research. They only listen to people. As soon as you say this is bad, absolutely, it is bad. They don't think for themselves. They only allow people to tell them what they need to know, what they need to believe. And when that happens, they run with it. And that's the problem we have.
Let's
and
use. Let's use.
And what
Yeah, go ahead,
and
Director.
what Josh is saying, I just had a little simple test. I invited 5, I can't say whether women or guys, right? They came to my office. So I asked them a simple question, what is politics? I told them to define politics, and all of them had their cell phones in their hands. And guess what? They were there struggling with themselves. So my special assistant said, but just Google it, crap, right? And that's why Josh is saying right there that once you start thinking something, everybody will follow and say, oh yeah, they will not look for it themselves. At the end of the day, once it splashes on their faces, then before they realize, oh, the place they were carrying on that the wrong route, though, And so I don't see problem with who wanted it then and who didn't want it. We only want the perpetrators. And like the Liberal said, if we are going for the perpetrators, we don't want you tomorrow. Once we started, then you say no, we're switching the goalposts. We don't want the perpetrators. Let's go for power.
Exactly.
Which we always see.
So let's hold on one second. This is what every platform, and you ask people, and and that's people's views, their opinions, that's their opinion. Let's use Mr. Brown's or Martin Woodman Brown tweet here as a case study into our conversation here, because this is something that's always factoring in most of the time. The warlords, no remorse, they are not they do not apologize, they are not willing to admit. This is why he's here. If the perpetrators are in denial of committing atrocities, how can we have restorative justice? None of these warlords are admitting to committing crimes. So I'm not a guy who is in the business of supposition or dwell on the sections and stuff like that. So if Prince Johnson, because we seems to focus one, maybe or 2, 3 character, I'm not even sure whether Alhaji GV Kromah is in good health right now. So let's say Prince Johnson, Alhaji Kromah, George Bolley, if they came forward today and say, hey, we are sorry, what we did, X, Y, Z, would that be the end of this conversation or what?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay.
No, because that has been, yeah, okay, let's take time to play around this board here, because the reason I'm asking this sort of question here, this is, this question, this sort of, people throwing this thing out is always, they are not apologetic, they are not saying that, and I know people have to be remorseful of the action. So I'm just asking if we were to flip it around, if they come out today and say, okay, you know what, we are sorry, because everybody have been taking a definitive positions on why it happened the way it happened. And I can for sure say all of us, even on this platform here, directly or indirectly, we were also involved. We also throw a finger at somebody, and today other people are feeling the pains equally. So we also have a shared responsibility. So I'm just asking if these 3 gentlemen, personally, seems to be the main character of this sort of conversation, even though there are other people there who also give them the power to take the weapons or to do what it should do. They all should be held liable. If these 3 people came forward today, will we put to a closure to this kind of talk conversation?
So yeah, let me come in there, please. To answer Mr. Brown, I think Martin Wyman Brown, I would say absolutely no. It won't be the end of this Hulubala, right? Or Hulubala. The only way it will come to an end if they are in power. Because this is all about politics. And guess what? I think it's an insult to the Liberian people, or some of us who lost our relatives, that people are politics with our plight. I think that's what we should be talking. If George Bulley comes out, anybody comes out and say, look, we are sorry. Even if Prince Johnson comes out and say, look, I am sorry for what happened, it will not be the end. The only time you will find out that they will stop talking about it when they are controlling the covers or they are the government. That's the only way.
Right.
Okay. Let me say
Mr.
this.
So,
Mr. George, that's your right. But let me say this from my end. Let me say this. If Prince Johnson George Bulley came and say, I'm sorry, I would not accept it. Reasons. It should have been from the day the TRC was set up. If they say now, because the only saying because the year.
Let me hold you right there. Was that situation created by the very TRC?
No, they had an opportunity. They went there. Nobody forced them. They testified. They would have used that occasion to say, look.
No, what I mean, I'm talking about the criteria, but you remember also Prince Johnson too were also making argument to Milton Bly based on his willingness and the way he was coming forth. Even though that was their own opinion, I don't think that is the decisions if court were to be instituted today for say, okay, because you come forward. Or usually we see here, even in the Western world, where there can be a deal cut based on the information you're willing to put forward. They can give you some sort of waiver. They can also, they can see you as a state witness. So that's what I'm saying. So what I'm asking here, this very TROC, and that's where some of us have problem, because I see Jerome Vardia all over the place as well, knowing more information, putting more out there, and not being a little bit concrete, but being so much abstract in his talking point. So then this is where people find it very difficult, the neutrality, because that should have been a sort of neutral body that would do everything possible can to bring this to a settlement. But most of it, they're divided, and it took a political connotation, so it has become a problem to kind of validate the very document or the put together. We find it very difficult to deal with.
Yeah, because
and Alfonso, let me just give a second. The players want to be referees. That's it.
Well, I don't know about that, but let me go back to my point I was making. To Milton Bly, when Bly went to testify, the first thing that he expressed remorse, and it was based on that.
Do you accept that?
Oh yes, because
so then why you don't want to forgive?
Listen, he from the onset of the hearing, he expresses remorse, and up to today, it was based on that. The TRC recommended now the recommendation that left with the prosecution. It was just a recommendation. They said based on his passion, he should not be prosecuted. But that's a recommendation. The prosecution can look at the case and say, "Oh no, we can prosecute you and give you a lenient sentence." That left with them. The issue someone are seeing here today is that when initially people make reference to Rwanda, and some of them have not even gone to look at the document. What happened in Rwanda? They talk about power horse. The power horse in Rwanda, there were 1.2 million cases.
So
that went to the
let's be honest here.
That's what George said. We don't read. We only follow what someone who read a document follows.
Before that was someone who come to say we make some research, compare, because when you person Rwanda, people were prosecuted. People are staying in jail today in Rwanda. The guy who on that ship was extradited to Rwanda 2 years ago. So the issue of Liberians many times want to run with somebody because one is not in the favor. But we talk about, people may mention the chief house, especially house were being petrol bomb. Why is it I don't fight them? Because people are not being held liable for crimes in Liberia. People are living there with impunity.
So they should take the law. They should take the laws in their hands.
No, I said people are living there with impunity. That is that.
So are you trying to condone violence?
No, I said people live in Liberia. How you think the chief executive justice house was petrol bomb? Because people are not holding people accountable for a crime that being committed in Liberia.
Mr. So.
Okay, hold on one second, Pajo, hold on. Let me see. Let me break it.
What I'm saying is that if people commit crime in Liberia and they go through the due process, they found guilty, they serve the time. That will serve as warning to other people not to continue to do such. But you in Liberia, you see what happened in Liberia. How many of those people have been brought to book? And once the people are not brought to book, others will follow suit. And
okay, hold on one second. Let's spin the ball around here a little bit, because I think the Liberal is suffering from migraine now. He's a little bit upset with your talking point here. Let me go to the Liberal and then we'll come down to Mason. But Director Weeks, you wanted to say something before I go to the Liberal?
No, I see. My dear pops is twisting into pretzels, like we say politically, and he's still coming back to the point that George made, that as long as they're in Liberia, we have only praise singers. So I go and read a book said "Murder in the Cassava Patch." Anyway, I explain it. Everybody follow it and play that tune. They don't go for that book to read it. So they're just saying war crime code, war crime code. If you ask any Tom, Dick, and Harry, all of these hosts, to say, okay, what is the document saying? What is the document itself saying? When you listen to Alan White's and Costa's interview, Alan White said, look, even the document itself that is on the book, it cannot do nothing because it is filled with flaws. It has to go to the House. It has to be changed. You know, there are certain things that have to be done in order for this thing to proceed. So even there's this sub-hearing, you hear people, oh, there's a congressional hearing. They will never use the word sub. So we run with stuff as if to say, we don't have professionals, which we do. But this is something we're discussing. Tomorrow we're going to leave. We're not even talking about the generation that talking about what are the generation that's supposed to take over from us, whether they are protected, whether they have good schools, whether if we drop, all of us here are in our 50s, if we drop tomorrow, not Josh, if we drop tomorrow, what's going to happen? The kids that are taking over, do they have good schools? Are we ever thinking about these things? Oh, it's all about self, and Liberia is just there crying, you know. So
okay,
it's not about
the Liberal before I go to missing.
Yes, Mr. So, thank you very much. My point remains the same, and that is, I don't mind the war crime and economic code coming to Liberia, but first of all, we have to define it exactly what we expect and what we want out of it. Number one,
right.
If you want this thing to be war crime court that will punish the perpetrator, say so now. If you want to restore the image of Liberia and restore the soul of Liberia, which many of us support, say so now. I don't trust these politicians. I don't trust the opposition politician when it comes to these things, because most likely that once this thing is successful, they will want to use it as a campaign tool. Whereas Liberians psychologically are suffering day in, day out. They walk in the same broad street and pass by each other. The perpetrator pass by victim without us coming together to say, how do we solve this thing? Just today I was thinking, you know how many young people from Total that die in this war? You know how many people from other villages all over Liberia that die? Why is it that these same leaders cannot come out to say each of these towns, each of these villages, we must put up some sort of a monument for our people to grieve and have the opportunity to grieve about their death and what have you. This is how you bring unity. This is how you bring people. But if you want to punish people, the people that you want to punish, they didn't come to this position here overnight. That's what I always say, Mr. So, Prince Johnson, everyone else, didn't get up one morning, they say, oh, you know what? The sun's shining good today. I'm going to go kill Liberia. These things evolve. People got involved, certain things. So if you want to come out and say you want to punish somebody, I don't support that. But if you say, let these people come and talk, what happened? Why did they get involved? They will explain themselves. And if they refuse, like the former president there, you go read my book and you will get my answer. Those are people you're going to call in front of the court to be judged. But people who are willing, and if you make that rule from the beginning, you will find many of them, even Prince Johnson, they will come because Liberians are anxious to know why their parents were killed.
Hold on.
So that's that. You can't just come out and say you want to punish people in Liberia. If you do that, you're going to have some issue. Not necessarily the people resisting, even if they don't resist. But those people that you're going to punish, they also have relative. When do we stop? Where do we stop? When do we come together as a country?
Mr. Toh, you're missing some point.
Okay, let me go to Missing.
Yes, and so gentlemen.
Let me make you a chief prosecutor here this evening, if that possible. Do you have a position in this whole thing, first of all?
Mr. So, I am taken aback, but again, I understand where we are coming from individually.
Oh,
I do have opposition in this thing, and my position is let the war and economic crime code comes. The reason is, for me, we cannot be sitting here now and deciding what kind of code we want, whether the code should be restorative or not. We first got to decide the first thing, let the code come. Then we go back and say, okay, Now, if Benson Mason is carried to the court and he gets exonerated, Benson Mason can go. But if Benson Mason gets convicted, let the people be the one to say, look, Benson has shown a lot of remorse. Let's restore him to the society. Let's set some restriction for him. The people who go into the court cannot be the one who can be calling the shots, whether we want a restorative or we want them to be penalized. It's not them to call that. One. Two, this government is not going to go for war and economic crime court. We can say it from now till next year. Because when they go for war and economic crime court, George Weah is going to be exonerated on the war crime court, he and all his lieutenants. But they're going to come down guilty on the economic crime court.
How you come to that conclusion?
Because these people are becoming enriched overnight. I will take the first and simple person on the ground. I'm not going to go high. Look at Jefferson Koji. Jefferson Koji in 3 years, in under 3 years of being sergeant major, is able to buy a house for $150,000 cash.
Where did they get that information from?
My brother, you're not the only one getting information from Liberia. We all getting the information from Liberia, from in Liberia.
No, you're a contributor. Mr. So. Mr. So,
I verified before I say it. I'm not saying it. And this is now.
Hold on 1 second.
Hey, you guys, you don't do research. You just listen to people. As soon as they say it's fact, you carry it. What did you read?
Verified before I said what I say.
Where did you verify from? Tell us. We want to know.
Well, let me ask you here, Missing.
Yeah.
A session or what sort of? I still finding it difficult. And this is where the problem, the lack of political immaturity on the part of our politicians, their inability to sit and have a conversation to be able to persuade their opponent, they don't do it. All of those guys on Capitol Hill, that's exactly the behavior, and that's why they are now rationing 15K, 30K, and not even taking into consideration what is unfolding in the country. That's some of the behaviors. Because if I was a citizen and I'm from Liberty Party, I must be able to sit and have a conversation with the other people why I want certain decision to be made and try to see whether that sort of persuasive method can be applied. But we jump the cab to say, oh, if I talk to the president, they will not even listen. Oh, if I do the lack of disrespect. What me are disrespecting their friend, what me men are this. So it's just a chaotic situation on the Capitol Hill there. And this is why we are not even going anywhere. So I'm asking you, Missing, how you came up with that? Is there anything tangible was there to say, okay, he's going to be guilty of economic crime code?
Oh,
Mr.
So, I only use Jefferson Koji as one of the examples, one of the many examples. You and all of us know. Don't look. Let us. I mean,
no, I don't know. I want you to tell me.
You don't know nothing. Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Look, George. I know I don't know nothing. You guys know everything. But you guys don't see you don't see yourself taking the money when a cookie jar. You don't see yourself getting rich.
So
where you come from?
So let me throw the hypotheticals here into this conversation here, and that's one of the things I disagree with. What his name said, Brown. Some of the ridiculous comment. He is the guy that chaired this thing here, and at some point in time, he went on Spoon TV to say that the president. Here, come on. There are a lot of things that we can argue. We can I look at the policy of this government and be able to make a case. But he came out to say the president is a murderer, and he claimed to have that information. Yet he cannot even produce that so that the court can have that sort of information to prosecute or to bring the president to book. And he claimed that the president is a murderer, but he waiting a certain period.
Mr. So, let me say something.
How can we have this sort of conversation? Let me say
something. Let me say something here, Mr. So, when even Alan White, when he was talking about Prince Johnson, and that what set these people as apart from us. He said, but he has to be proven guilty. He was very, very factual to that part. This is the man who's calling for this man to go to court. He said, but we will need evidence to substantiate what we're saying. because we're not just going to grab anybody. This is what we said. You can even show a footage or a video. They will have to authenticate that video, that this video is not a footage that was made by anybody. And you are a contributor on one of the most talk about shows here with good ratings, and you're claiming that Jefferson Koji got a house $150,000 without displaying paperwork here. I think that's a disservice to this particular show, and you don't want to kick off like that's just what they do on Spoon and all of these places. And I don't go there, because if I would have to go after anybody, I will have to come out with my facts. You know, when the old man was speaking, I said roll the tapes, because that's the only way we all have a responsibility.
Front page, 2004, front page.
Look at that. Look at that front page. Look at your source.
Mr. So,
no,
Mr. So, let me
I think we are being unjust.
Guys, hold on, guys.
Hold on. Let me say here 1 minute, guys.
Yeah,
I think, Mr. So, if you remember quite well, I've been doing my show, and these are some of the things that I talked about. If you give Liberian people the opportunity, we will speculate, and we do that real well. And one of the things that we do is I say it, and I expect you to prove me wrong, instead of me to prove myself what I'm saying. However, all of these things, what Mason have said, or any other people who come out with these kinds of statements, they have a root cause. You have a president that came into office, and he was supposed to declare access immediately. You have a president who
that's not what the Constitution says, liberal.
His supporting staff.
That's the law.
Supposed to declare access, and many of them never did. And over some other reason, and when I was doing my show, this is some of the things that I stated. I said maybe most of the people got the money, they borrowed the money from somewhere else, which is possible. But the fact that you are unable to declare access, how now you're going to tell us where you get the money from? Whereas if people say no, that you get the money, 11 people in Liberia got money, they can borrow anybody. Banking in Liberia. In fact, Dr. Baka said he lived on borrowed money in Liberia. So what makes you think people like Jefferson Kochi or the other? And I'm not here to defend it, far from it, because I really don't care to defend it, but I want to be factual. Jefferson Kochi, many of these people can go to the banks and borrow money. Now, if they go and get the money from the bank, it's the fact that they have already declared their access, these things can be listed. But if you don't have these kinds of opportunity, for people will improvise, and this is exactly what is happening in our community.
On the declaration of access, let me tell you, I myself did that. And almost every government official was asked by this president. Everyone that was appointed was asked to do so. But the law does not say when you declare your asset, you must walk publicly and go say it. So you, Samson, to one, they have the Freedom of Information Act, request for it. They will not request, and they will just be walking all around and saying that nobody did it, like you said. Can you look at Bwaka's property now and say, 1 second. Can you look at the former vice president properties that he have in this he has in the country and say, oh no, he's corrupt? No, he said he borrowed from places. Until you go and verify those facts, you cannot say.
He already on it, right? That he on loan, so tomorrow we can even also, he needs to pay that loan first before we can give him state power. We can give him state power to be added.
Mr. So, let me just.
Mr. So. Why will you come on the public platform to tell me that my future president will have to pay the? Who are you? Are you the loan officer?
Well, let me tell you now.
You're trying to put in the mind of the voters some sort of a idea, conservative idea that we're going. I'm going to have to speak against that. I'm sorry, but you cannot sit here and say the vice president will pay the loan before you give him state power. That is unacceptable.
So let me use your words. He was the one that put his own foot in his mouth to tell us that he took loan, right?
He lives on loan.
Yeah, he lives on loan. Am I lying?
Yeah. No, but leave it as that. Why will you not demand the vice president to pay the loan before you give him state power?
It's in the regular judge give you a loan here, you gotta pay. You pay first before they give you.
That's none of your business. That's between the vice president and the bank. You can't come here and say the vice president in order for you to work CDC, which we will do. In order for us to do that, the vice president must pay the loan anyhow.
Yeah, okay, I understand that, but I'm also worried about the future of my country.
So
yeah, go ahead, Wida, before we sign up here.
I just want to address Mr. Mason's accusation. Look, we can sit here and accuse anyone. It's easy, you know.
It's easy. Yeah.
It's easy, but to prove it is a thing. But what
that's the toughest part.
Yeah, what I do know about Liberians is that they are very good at leveling accusations. And guess what? They don't even, if someone told them, they won't tell you that, oh, I heard. They will tell you, say, that's what it is.
Right.
Even though that they do know and they have evidence, but nothing. If you ask Mr. Mason now, he does not have a shred of evidence for what he's saying. He doesn't even know the location of the house he's talking about. He doesn't know who the house.
Okay, so hold on. Let me see here, because Mason is looking at you.
Because a lot of gullible people in the Liberian society, they believe Mr. Mason now. He's a celebrity. Tell me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's like hearing him because
I can go film the house tomorrow if he shows me where it is.
Listen, so is that innuendos or that just some sort of this is what Wida is saying?
Mr. So it's not innuendos. It's no second guessing myself. I do have information and I do have the location of the house.
Wait, now, where's the information coming from?
Show it to me. Let me film it tomorrow.
When I first heard that Jefferson Koji bought a house, I said to myself, well, it's possible. It's possible. And why I said it's possible? Because while he's working, yes, he can take a loan and he can buy the house. So I did not pick it up. I did not bother myself going along with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then a friend of mine called me and said, man, you know that you ever seen the picture of Jefferson Koji's house?
What is the identity? Can you establish the identity of this friend? Who is he? Where is where? No, I'm not asking for his name.
He's in Monrovia.
So that's a second.
He's in Monrovia. He works with he's in Monrovia. He works with education ministry. He's a teacher who has been for a long time. He and I still communicate because we talk together, we work together. He lives in the Painesville area. And he told me, he said, hey, my man, Jefferson Koji got a house. I said, well, my man, everybody can buy a house in Liberia in a short time because why? It's cheaper to build a house in Liberia. It's already cheaper. So long you get a land, it's cheaper and easier to build a house.
Mm-hmm.
He said the man bought a house and he did some work on it. I said, oh. I said, well, that's good. The man working. And he said to me, I will send you the picture of the house along with the estimate. He sent me the picture of the house. When I
he did a work on the house?
No, he didn't do the work on the house.
So who provided him all of this information?
Look at Josh killing himself.
Because he lives in Painesville area.
Look,
and because he said he has access to the house. He took pictures. He sent it to me. I took the pictures.
Circumstantial argument you are making right there. You can't take that before the court. You know that.
No. Listen, Mr. So.
Because let me ask you, has he forwarded anything black and white to you?
Black and white in means of the expense on the house?
No,
he said he got the pictures.
I said I got pictures. I told you I got pictures.
But even taking as well. It's not picture. It's not just under the evidence though. I can take any picture here and set it here. What I'm asking, did he provide you detail where the money come from? How this whole thing was facilitated.
Mr. So, you see, that's one thing I like about us, and not you, because what you're doing is asking a journalistic question, and I understand that. People, we quickly find reason why these things cannot happen. We quickly want to say, look, like you're saying, he didn't provide me any financial expenditure or where the money coming from? No, he did not. But the house I saw,
okay,
go to the house. Gives it a tune value.
All right, but yeah, this is what we do here. We LPR. This is for us here. This is not an entertainment industry. No. This is not an amusement industry. Be it a government, the opposition. So we want to really talk on things that we have, that we can argue on, that we can validate, that can be authenticated. That's the kind of conversation. We're not really playing to the radar. I know I'm just saying something. We're not playing to the radar.
I don't come here to play the radar.
I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying that. But when we talk things here that can be validated, so which picture is that?
My house, my house.
Where is that house? In Michigan?
America.
In Detroit?
Yeah.
No, in Liberia, that's my house.
Oh, come on, man.
Let me go lay down, man. Let me go lay down. Let me go lay down.
I think one of you brought into flame here. So, guys,
Clear for me.
yeah, okay.
When
Let's
somebody show me a house in
You know
Liberia,
the
I know
whole
in
thing
Liberia.
about-
When they show me a house out of Liberia, I know.
Yeah, so that's another way. That's another way to neutralize a conversation.
Yeah,
But
let me
that's
say
the whole
something.
thing.
Right.
But so,
Right.
back to what I was saying. I don't care what we like about it. This economic crime code tied into the war crime code is going to make it difficult for these two courts to come to Liberia.
So then, why you
It's
want?
going to make it difficult. It's going to make it very difficult.
So which one do you want?
Me, trust me, Mr. So, let me be honest with you. I really don't care if it comes. Do the war.
Wait on,
This
wait.
war that came.
No,
Mr.
no,
So, let me be
hold on,
honest
hold
with
on.
you. I'm going to be honest with you
let me-
100%.
let me ask-
I don't
Let me
care.
ask. Let me ask Brown. Brown, let me ask you 1 second. Let me ask
I
Brown
don't
something
care,
1
Mr.
second.
So, whether
please.
it goes, whether the war and economic crime code go to Liberia or
But
not,
that
I
was
don't
not
care.
your- no, yeah. So there's listen now. You see,
I
when
said
you-
I prefer.
hold
I
on, hold on,
prefer
hold
it
on.
want both codes to come.
Mason, don't care your cholesterol up, please. Hold on. You started all year different. Now you're confusing us. No, you
No.
want big dog. You want big cat. Big cat.
Mr. So,
Okay. You
Mr.
started all
So.
year saying you want something, but then you're talking about you not care. So then what's it? Which way are you?
Mr. So,
What do
Mr.
we-
So,
I support the war and economic crime code, but I don't care whether it comes or not. I was never directly affected by this war.
Oh.
Let me be honest.
Okay.
I was never directly
and you
affected
are
by this war.
Liberian?
You are not.
I'm a
And you are
Nigerian. I'm
Liberian?
telling you the truth.
But
I was
he's
never
being
directly
honest.
affected by this war. I had nobody in this war to die by any of the warring faction. Nobody.
He's being honest.
Whether, I mean, honest with you, whether close to me, I mean, whether in my relative, my bloodline relative, or I had nobody close to me to die in this war that I can stand up and say, I saw people being killed. I saw people being conscripted. I saw raped. But nobody close to me. I'll be honest with you to say that when they come and they carry this person, I will go and talk. I had none of that.
All right, gentlemen, we're coming to a start being making we need to run up. But yeah, it's the deal here. I remember 1975, 70, 75, 78. The Wletainon scenario, the killing that went in Sino. Those days, government, they were using those red lights in play. And GV20, that was the plate, that was the government operation thing that went to Sino to effect arrest. And so when they came, they said, oh, yeah, you'll catch the people, you'll catch the people. So, usually when they start those sort of operation that the honor men, then they apply them, they can handle first. And then as they go forward in the dying minute, then they rather reach to the carpage. When we go low one evening, they catching people to demonstration. So, oh, they carry one part, everybody laughing, until one day when we go look at the Attorney General of the county, they knocking down. The superintendent at that time, the late James Tier. So it became serious. Oh no, they GV20 here, they lie now, they lie on people now. They said that the people they were not part of the thing. So this is to say, I just strongly feel the onset of the conversations of this whole war and economic crime to the team that were constituted to really put something together. I'm not sure whether they did us a favor. They all of them have a side. All of them sympathize with something. All of them had a hidden agenda. That's why it makes it so difficult to get us to be where we are. And part of that is based on the things that we are hearing from them today. And to the extent how divided. However, we believe that people should be able to answer some questions. But if we don't want to do it with honesty, and we think that it's being targeted, because at some point in time, when you say, oh, the crime, they started the war. No, and that's a bullshit. Every Liberian, including the unborn, said when they were to do some sort of forensic right now, the unborn baby, they will say, oh, I want so person to be killed, I want so thing to happen. So this is a very volatile and dedicated issue that we really need to sit and talk about it and see what can be done. If it will come, let it come. But when people or certain segment, you make people group to feel that certain segment is a tiger group, then it kills the whole sense of the whole conversation. Gentlemen, we got to wrap it up here. This guy here, I don't want him to sleep and then the job can't call me tomorrow, something to, because most of the time when he doesn't go to work on time, they end up calling me to say, oh, the old man stay up. Am I lying something?
Why you keep picking on the liberal?
That's his job.
Oh, Kwame, you spoiled the whole conversation here this evening.
That's what they do. This is you should be happy, Kwame, because this is a CDC platform, and this is a CDC platform. We have Mr. So, we have Mr. Josh, and we also have Mr. Professor, CDC professor. Mr. Josh over there is a center right. So I, as a liberal on this show, I am the counterweight, and they can't make it with me.
You here defending UG Fagon?
But wait,
I'm not. No. You see, you're missing the point. I'm not defending UG Fagon.
The funny thing, this guy get a party, and he does not even have the guts to support somebody for any party. I've never seen anybody like him be on planet Earth.
I'm a Liberty Party USA.
Why are you not supporting Liberty Party? She was a favor serving for that 15K, right?
And she refused to sign. She refused to sign
No. I'm not talking about the letter to the president. The 15K. Oh. She's a number 7, right?
So what's wrong with that one? It's legal.
Legal money, yeah.
Yeah.
Legal money.
That legal money.
All right, guys. I know let's bring the conversation to an end. Director Wicks, I know it's quite late to you here. What's your parting statement for us?
Well, I just want to say thanks first to your audience and great conversation we've been having. Let's do this often because I think I see that the show is balanced. Bring folks like Brown, Mason here to add some flavor to the sauce. The old man on the right always brings some great points. The liberal is there to cut between the scissors. He's always trying to make points when one time he's for, another moment he's against. And then me and my brother will be there and waiting to take on you guys and listen to you hosting the show. But one good thing, I want this platform that sets us aside from the rest of all the platforms is that let's come here, all of us, when we come in here, let's bring our facts. Send your tip to the technicians and say, look, I will be talking about XYZ. This is where we are said so this. Once I say that part, pause it and roll the tip. Let's quote people verbatim and try to make sure, because if we cannot stop our people from using this say and running with stuff, we will not be doing a good service to our viewers. But till then, I hope to be invited always.
Yeah, all right. I mean, evening time is quite perfect. We can use that time to do it. Okay, guys, I'm extremely out of time here now. I'm not sure whether the liberal going to say anything. I believe he has made a closing remark already. Equally,
I have not. This is not my closing. You see, you're getting ready to sanction me already.
Okay, let's go. Okay, 30 seconds, please.
To who?
30 seconds. You already gone 15 seconds. I say 30 seconds. Make your final statement.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate it, and continue to do a wonderful job of overall try to protect yourself and protect your family as well. Thank you very much, because it's a wonderful thing. We hope that when you get ascended up as the new deputy of
come on, look, I told you.
Please make sure
you see that.
Well, you guys, please make sure you open the door for us so that we'll continue to invite you as the new deputy. I hope they will select you to be the new deputy. I don't see why not. So we pray that will happen, because I think you have the ability to continue to put Liberia on the map as well.
All right.
Thank you for coming.
All right, Widow, let's go 30 seconds quickly. I'm already out of time.
Thank you so much. I just want to appreciate the DG for coming on, and I must confess I'm one of the ardent followers of the show. See, he takes the camera everywhere. Look, some other government official would like to sit in the office, and let's say this is the DG, Director General of that institution. But what he does is he does not sit back and say, "My boys are going to the field." He goes at himself, and I think that is very integral to. So I just want to thank you. And the last thing I want to say is that I built a house in Liberia by someone who sent me photos every day. When I went on the ground, there was no house. Even though I had photos, but there was no house. So if we are doing these things, if you are abroad and someone is giving information, I want you to verify them over and over before you come. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Pa George. 30 seconds, then I'll go to this.
Thank you, Mr. Director Weeks. And I just want to say this. 2004, I will find a video. I will send it to Mr. So, one person we are working in support of the War and Economic Ground Code.
Okay.
Secondly, all
That'll be great.
Is alleged. When we talk about the War and Economic, we're talking about alleged, because I cannot sit down and say Prince John is guilty. He must go through the process of law. So let me make that emphatically clear.
Okay, Mr. quickly.
All right, gentlemen, thanks for the platform. Kwame, good to see you again. I haven't seen you for 15, 16, 17 years now.
I know, Brown.
Sorry.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, guys.
Like we said, it's good to be here. It's good to see like I follow this show regularly, and Mr. So knows that when I'm on, when I see it, I'll make comment, but I don't miss a day, I don't miss a beat on it. Even when I'm at work, I listen to it. And I like the show. I like how we present the issues. Sometimes, yeah, it's heated. Sometimes it's confused. Sometimes we get into some place where we stand up for each other. Sometimes we back down on each other. But like you say, yes, so long I know what the topic would be ahead of time, and I know I want to come on, I will send. If I can't even come on and I have some contribution, I will send Mr. So my contribution. I say, hey, this is where I'm coming from. This is what I want. This is what I will be saying if I'm privileged to come on. If not, at least you have what I have to contribute to the show.
Yes.
So if it's
you forgot something. Sometimes people send out pictures and stuff and things like that.
No, if I would send you things that would be self-explanatory.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and have a pleasant evening.
Thank you, Mr. So.
Good day.
But these funds. This phone is being entrusted into the hands of the very people in the towns and villages.
No, but you see, this is not something that an assembly has to debate about. This is a project management team that the president will give orders to the superintendent, to the handpick. And that's who the superintendent handpick, his body.
So how if the coalition wins the election, how differently would they put that in place? How would they do theirs?
Most of all, we intend to give to the Liberian people, we intend to give it to them within the 500 days. But when we give you something, it doesn't mean you put it up within the 100 days. That's not going to work. You have to determine how the process is going to work. You have to determine how everything will fit in place. But take, for example, you and I want a special code on corruption.
Can you take a look at your video? I'm not sure why it's stuck near here. You want to take a look at it from your end?
My video on Skype?
Yeah. Are you moving? Okay, that was 2017 in September. Now the dismissed Minister of Deputy Minister of Press and Public Affairs at the Ministry of Information, to Eugene Lamin Fagon, right here on the Liberia Public Radio. Folks, that's how we're going to draw the curtain down here this evening. Number 4, Suzy and Sort of the Liberia Public Radio with the rest of the crew. We want to thank you so much for being part of today's companies. Just click the bell there, the notification icon with drops. Just click on all notification. In that way, you will be able to have access to all programs right here on LPR. Keeping the news proportional. I want to thank you so much for sharing the evening. Hey, Shepard, man, it's better late than never. I want to thank you. Omarut, thank you for your contribution. Siddiqui, Alice, President Dan, as usual, thank you so much. And again, for those of you with ANC, Liberty Party, or Liberian Party, if you want to be a contributor on this network, just let us know. It's at no cost so that we can get your political take. And we strongly feel when it comes to Liberia, it's all of us interest and all of us must have a say in that. Until then, folks, have a pleasant evening. And I'm Afonso Ziensot of the Liberia Public Radio. Have a pleasant evening. And we'll be back here at same time, same station with another program. Bye-bye.
Everybody, everything's going bad. The situation getting worse. Everybody in the country getting mad. Dishonesty, poverty on the rise. The leaders, them making empty promises. Promises with no damn strategies. Yeah, this is better days, money in the pockets. Oh, as a holidays only for the bosses. Yeah, there's a better days, money in your pockets. Oh, as a holidays only for the bosses. Oh yo, hey, what about the children? What about the people? What about your families? What are they gonna eat though? Yeah, so Septi and Betty, yeah, so wait till we happy, Whoa. They don't really